All right. So thank you. Thank you, American Heritage Credit Union, for their partnership and their trust. Today's topic, really important, very important. It's never too early to start planning for that future, to start planning for our retirement and creating wealth. We can start right now, and many of us are already doing it through our employers. So, welcome everyone to Creating Wealth. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. And as Crystal mentioned, throughout the presentation, I will be mentioning some handouts, but you are going to be receiving everything that I'm going to be explaining here today. All right. Money Management International. Who are we? Well, Money Management International is a national full service nonprofit financial education and counseling organization. Our mission is to improve life through financial education. Money Management International provides a variety of services to help consumers manage their finances, and in that way, we are able to achieve our financial goals. We have an online resources in our website. We also have a free online learning program, learn.mmiuniversity.org. And we also provide budget and credit counseling over the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the best thing about all of these services is that we have a dedicated phone number for all members and non-members of the credit union. So please take advantage of that resource. It is free, it's confidential, and we are not selling anything. At the end of the presentation, you will see our last slide. And so in there, you are going to be able to see the phone number, our website, and also the free online program, the free online learning program that I just mentioned. Other services that we provide, debt management programs. We also provide student loan counseling, credit report reviews, post-disaster recovery counseling, and pre-bankruptcy counseling. We also are one of the largest HUD-approved agencies in the country. HUD stands for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Yes, we are nonprofit, but the U.S. Department of Housing certify us and train us to be able to provide all services, counseling, and education when it comes to housing. Okay. So all of that is in our website. So again, at the end of the presentation, you will see the information with phone numbers and the dedicated phone line for all of you to take to be able to call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, so what are today's objective? What is today's workshop objectives? Well, I am going to give you some strategies for creating a long-term wealth and achieving your personal goals. I will look at where to start, and I'm going to give you some tips for successful investing. I will also show you the difference between lending and owning assets. I also going to show you various financial instruments and saving and investment strategies, including the risk and asset allocation. I'm also going to show you some common options to help you invest for retirement. And one important thing is I'm going to give you the net worth handout that you will be also receiving at the end of the class that will allow you to track your progress. Okay. And at the very end, I'm going to give you some tips on how you're able to choose a financial professional to help you achieve your wealth building goals. Now, I am not a financial planner. I am a financial wellness educator, and that's why it's so important to know how you're able to choose a financial planner professional that is going to be able to help you. You may already have one. You may already have one that your jobs provides. So that is good. So there is going to be, I'm going to be showing you a lot of terminology in here. So I want you to, I would like for you to really go beyond that and research and learn more on your own, okay, about all this information. So great information we're going to be covering here today. All right, so why do we, what is the saving the difference between savings and investing? Well, savings is money that we put aside, just like if we want to save for a long term for our retirement. But also saving is money that we're able to put in our what we call liquid saving account. And it's money, liquid saving account are money that we're able to withdraw when we need it. Like especially when we have an emergency. So we have what we call emergency saving plans. So investing is when we put money, we save money through investments, and it's going to be a long term. This is money that is going to stay there because it's going to grow 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, 30 years. So that is money that is going to grow uh, using compound interest, using interest depending on how we are saving that money. So why people invest? Why do we invest? Why we save money in a long term? Well, a lot of people invest for a variety of reasons. And each reason represents a goal for which money needs to be set aside. Okay? Um, so maybe some of you are already doing all of this saving. Some of you may just doing one, okay? But the most important thing is building an emergency cash reserve. This saving for emergencies is a good place to begin creating wealth because it can allow you to save for short and long-term goals. Emergency cash reserves can help you handle unforeseen events without disrupting your regular budget and savings plans. Ultimately, we recommend that we should have between 3 to 6 months of living expenses. But if you're just beginning, okay, if you don't have any emergency saving, then it's important to set a smaller goal and build it from there. Okay? The important thing, the most important thing when building cash reserve is to make regular contributions and replenish your funds as soon as possible. So as soon as you use them because you have a flat tire, you have a sick child, something breaks down, then you continue. You always continue to put money aside for your emergency reserve. Okay. So a lot of also we save for short-term goals if we are trying to save for a down payment for a vehicle, down payment for a home, or if we are trying to reduce debt. A lot of times we invest for long-term goals, maybe a special celebration, maybe a wedding, maybe also we invest as a long-term goal to provide with education for our children. And then also many of us are already working for those golden years. Okay. When we stop working, when we retire, then we have a little nest that is going to allow us to continue to enjoy things. So, and all of you may have different reasons of why you are investing. So, very important. Everyone is very unique. We have unique needs. We have very personal goals and things that we want to accomplish. Okay. All right. So, what are successful investors? Well, beyond preparing for the unexpected, successful investors also typically have a long term approach to building assets. This might include purchasing a house or investing in an IRA, which stands for individual retirement account, or a 401k. These are, we'll mention and explain a little bit about this vehicles in a little bit. So, to be successful, you could also become familiar with financial instruments like stocks and bonds that help to create wealth. It is important to educate yourself about different investment principles and their risk. Becoming familiar with ways to fund your retirement, including when and how to start, and choosing a competent and trustworthy financial professionals because they are going to guide you. So I'll talk more about these strategies, and there are also resources in the handout that you are going to be getting at the end of the presentation. Okay? All right. So let's start by talking about lending assets. What are lending assets? Well, lending assets are loans that you make to the bank, that you make to a corporation or government in exchange for their promise to pay you interest. They are very conservative. They are very conservative vehicles for savings, which means the goal is to preserve the principal, your money, while receiving a reasonable return. Common lending assets include saving accounts, usually, our liquid saving accounts, usually for money that you don't intend to use daily, only for emergencies. So the bank will allow us to do withdrawals in a limited way. We also have certificates of deposit, in other words, CDs. These are bank written acknowledgments of a deposit for a specific amount interest. So we need to leave the money there for a specific time. Money market accounts. These are types of saving accounts that can yield a little high interest if large amounts of money are deposited. And there, in the savings, we also have some savings that are called high yield saving accounts. Most of this, we can find them online, and they are, providing a little bit of higher regular interest that, a little bit better than what we earn on our regular saving accounts. Another lending assets are corporate and municipal bonds, which are loans made to the bond issuer with a promise of return with interest within a specified amount of time. And the last ones are saving bonds, treasury bills, and notes these offer a fixed interest rate over a fixed period of time. Okay. So it is very important to understand what lending assets are. Okay. So maybe you already have some of these lending assets in your savings and your financial records. All right, so let's see how the lending assets works. So here's an example. The consumer, this is you make a saving deposit or purchase one of the assets that I just mentioned, maybe a CD, maybe a saving bond, uh, and the bank uses the money from those deposits to make loans to their other customers, okay? Like an individual consumer or maybe a small business owner. Now, those bank customers will repay the loan with interest. And in turn, the bank will pay you interest on the money that they use. So typically, lending assets are a win-win because they're fairly low risk and earn interest. You make money on your assets and deposits. And because the bank earns interest by loaning money to their customers, they're also making a profit. Um, Very important to help you safeguard your deposit. It is always very important to make sure that your bank institution is insured by the FDIC, which stands for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Usually, when you go to a bank, then you'll see that little logo in there. That means that your money is safe. If you bank with a credit union, just like the American Heritage Credit Union, then you will see the logo. They are insured by the NCUA, and that is the National Credit Union Association. Okay, so very important always to make sure that your money is safe. All right, so let's talk about owning assets. All right, owning assets are associated with investments rather than savings. What investment tools or vehicles might be considered owning assets? Well, maybe in a stock, maybe a mutual fund investments, real estate, or real estate if you own a home or if you own uh, a real estate property for rental, okay, or if you purchase some part of a company, if you are owner of a company, okay. Own assets help create wealth through returns paid by investments, okay. All right, so those are owning assets. All right, so let's talk a little bit about investments. Investments are not guaranteed and many carry risk. That's why it is a long term. We're going to keep that money there on a long term, okay? Not 5 years, not 10, longer, longer, okay? Again, investments are not guaranteed and carry risk. So when you own or invest in something, you participate in both good and bad markets, as the market can change over time. For this reason, it's a good idea to consider the length of time that you will be saving or investing, also what will be the possible risk and potential rewards. Some investments are more predictable than others, and many investments have a cost associated with them, such as sales commission, taxes, fees. Okay. So be sure to determine this cost and factor them into your investment objective. Many times, investors will build a portfolio that include different kinds of investment tools and strategies, which can help them weather market highs and lows and protect their overall investment funds through diversification. Stocks are a common investment tool. They represent a share of ownership in a company. Mutual funds are also common. A mutual fund is essentially a portfolio itself. So it might contain several financial instruments such as stocks, bonds, money market instruments, real estate, and even precious metals. Smaller portions of an investment portfolio might contain riskier investments, okay, such as artwork and some metals. But again, this kind sound kind of, confusing, but that's why we talk to a professional planner that is able to explain and said what is good to invest, what is not good to invest. Okay. So again, it is worth taking a closer look at financial instruments used for investing, including stock, bonds, mutual funds, and digital assets. So let's talk about those. So in here we have stocks. Um, in here we have income stocks that pay dividends, and then we have growth stocks that they grow quickly in value. Okay. Stocks are share of ownership in a company. Okay. Like if you have heard people say, oh, well, I own stock in Apple or Coca-Cola or something like that. So, yeah, it's a little bitty part of owning that company. So if the company and his stock does well, then the stock price will increase and the company may share his earnings with the stockholders in the form of dividends. There are different types of stocks, as I just mentioned, income stocks, which regularly pay dividends, and there are also growth stocks, which do not pay dividends but have a record of increasing faster in value. Another saving instrument, financial instruments for savings are bonds and mutual funds. Bonds are certificates of debt issued by governments, companies, banks, public utilities, and other institutions. Bonds are a lending asset, but they are considered investments and not savings. Bonds have three characteristics. They're issued for face value, which is the amount you get back from the issuer at the date of maturity. They have a fixed coupon or interest rate, and they have a fixed date of maturity. Okay, so for example, if you might pay $500 to buy a bond today, that will be worth $1,000 in 10 years. Okay, so in 10 years is when the maturity date, the date of maturity. Okay. Mutual funds pull money from different investors and invest that money in stocks, bonds, and other assets. All combined assets and mutual funds are known as the portfolio. Okay. Investors pay commission fees to a professional fund manager to manage the fund, and investors share equally in the fund's profit and losses. So, again, having a professional planner, a financial planner, is the best thing. Now, lately in the news, we have seen cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is an owning asset, different from instruments like stocks and bonds, because this is digital. This is a digital owning asset. Cryptocurrency is virtual, so it doesn't have a physical form. So think of each cryptocurrency like a token. Different types of tokens can be used for different things like payments. Digital currency is tracked and managed through a distributed ledger and a decentralized network of users called a blockchain. So instead of having them in a central bank or government, so it may be more likely to retain its value and less likely to be counterfeited. Okay. It is important to learn more about all of this because it's still it's kind of new, but there are different types of cryptocurrency, such as Bitcoin. This was the original one, but now we have Litecoin and Dogecoin. Each cryptocurrency has a limited number of available units, so owners can make money by selling it for more than what they pay. However, many different types of digital currency can be created. Okay. Cryptocurrency is also stored in an online wallet or app. Using a key, owners can make digital transactions that are noted in the network. Cryptocurrency can be exchanged for regular dollars or different types of digital currency, but is market the market for all this cryptocurrency, the market value fluctuates. Processing time is relatively slow, and owners are subject to substantial fee and tax implications. Okay. There are other risks involved with digital currency. So it is very important to know a lot about this. If this is something that you would like to do, make sure that you understand all the in and outs. Keep in mind, cryptocurrency is not typically backed by a hard asset like stocks. Okay. Generally, investing in cryptocurrency has a high risk factor. That's not to say digital assets shouldn't be part of your overall strategy. Just be sure to weigh the risk and include other diversified instruments that fit with your individual objective and risk tolerance. Okay? All right. So there it is. Mining cryptocurrency requires energy and contributes to pollution. This is something I've been reading a lot in the paper because um, they are being built all these massive buildings. All right. So it's very important for you to learn to investigate. But again, diversification. Okay, diversification. All right, savings and investments risk. Both lending and owning assets, whether traditional or digital, carry risk. It is important to understand and be prepared for them. Taking your time to determine the types of risk each option carries will also help you make more informed choices. Okay. Interest rate risk is the potential for loss because of changing interest rates. We've seen lately that. For example, if you have bonds and the interest rate rose, the value of your bonds would decrease. To benefit from interest rate risk, it's important to lock into a fixed rate of return when the rates are high. Inflation risk is directly related to purchasing power. It is the risk that actual value will be affected by inflation. For example, if you have $1,000 in a saving account with a return of 2%, but the rate of inflation is 5%, while your investment is not lost, the purchasing power is. Okay. The account has not been able to keep up with inflation rates. So one way to mitigate inflation risk is to diversify. And I've been mentioning this word a lot, diversification. Diversify your savings and investments. All right, so here, diversification and asset allocation. So to spread the risk of an investment and to ensure that you do not lose all your investment, it is important to divide your savings and investments between lending and owning assets. This is what we call diversification. Diversification. Okay. Um, Asset allocation refers to how you allocate investments into different categories. Just as it is a great idea to diversify between savings and investments, it is also a good idea to spread your investment among different asset classes. Okay. And all this information is in your handout. So diversification. You probably have heard something like, we cannot put all the eggs in one basket because if the basket fall down, then all our eggs will go crash. So diversification. All right. Let's talk about investing for retirement. Okay. So think about what type of lifestyle do you want when you retire? Retirement is one of the biggest reasons people save and invest. You know, when we start working, when we're young, we want to save for our future. How much money you will need in retirement depends on several factors, and it is never too early to start planning. Okay. So if some of you are young out there, start asking yourself some questions like what age you would like to retire, where do you plan to live, are you going to stay where you are now, or do you want to move to another state, what activities you want, you want in your retirement, what health care you're going to be needing, and long-term care costs also. Um, you know, these two costs should be considered. And if you have some money left, who do you want to leave the money to? Okay. So the security of your financial future depends largely on the choices that you make today. I want to rephrase that again. The security of our financial future depends largely on the choices that we make today. The time value of money is important. Even small amounts of money set aside over a long period of time will provide a good return if it is left intact, okay? Because you're allowing it to grow. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is just an example about when should we start. Again, the earliest the possible, but it's never too late to start. So yes, the earlier our age, the better. So these are some examples. All three investors have goal to retire by 65, but time seems to be the biggest factor in yielding the highest overall return because of compound interest. So we have Sarah, we have Joe, and we have Jerry. So Sarah and Jerry both begin saving at age 44. They started with zero. So if Sarah contributes $300 each month at a 10% return, she will have invested just over $75,000 overall, but will have 288,771 in retirement. So by the age that they decided that they want to retire, which was 65. Now, Jerry invests an initial amount of $10,000 at an 11% rate of return, but did not contribute anything further. So after the same amount of time, he will have just under 100,000 in retirement. So it is important to continue adding. Joe plans to begin investing earlier at age 26. So if she invests 10,000 initially with an 11% rate of return and makes no further contribution, she will have over $600,000. And the reason is because she started at an earlier age. So the money is going to be there longer. Again, the earlier the better, but it's never too late to start thinking about our future, okay? Our goals for the future. All right. There is a great website that also can give you a lot more information and resources, and it is called there is calculators in there, all kinds of information. It's called investor.gov. Investor.gov. And this is also included in your handout, okay, that you are going to be receiving. Let's talk about employer sponsor plans. So if you are working and your employer offers you any of these plans, please contribute. Don't leave money on the table. Okay. So and these employer sponsor plans are one of the most common and beneficial options for the employee. All right. So we have employee stock plan. This is where the employee can purchase shares of the company's stock, sometimes for a discounted price. And there's a lot of companies out there that still offer that. We have a 401k and a 403b. 401k usually is for profit companies, and 403b is for nonprofit. This is a tax deferred plan with your employer, often matching employee contributions up to certain amount. Okay. So very important. If check and see if your employer is matching up to what percentage. So always try to um to save the percentage that they are matching, at least what they're matching. Don't leave money on the table. We have another investment employer sponsored plans. We have 457s. These are plans available for government and some non-government employees. Employees can typically make salary deferrable contributions. Also, 457 is available for some nonprofit employers. We also have the TSP that stands for the thrift saving plans. Usually, is these are government programs. There's also profit sharing. There's a lot of companies still up there that give employees a share in the profits of the company. So again, if you have an employer sponsor plan available and the employer's contribution matches yours, it is equivalent to 100% return of your money with no risk. Not participating in any of this would mean that you will be leaving behind the employer's contribution, which is essentially like walking away from free money. So there is your homework to go ahead and see if you have an employer, what type of programs they have. There is also another savings if your employer does not offer any of that, and these People can start saving on this since they're very young, since they start working at age 16, 17, 18. So these are called individual retirement accounts, or IRA. These are tax shelter retirement accounts set up by a financial institution. So research what institutions out there are available. There are many good ones out there. So your age, your income, and tax filing status, either joint or single, is considered for the guidelines set by the IRS. There are different types of IRA, individual retirement accounts. So we have the traditional or deductible IRA that allows someone with a moderate income to deduct their contribution from their gross income for tax purposes. So this can lower your tax liability. The IRS taxes these funds when they are withdrawn. So 59 and a half. 59 and a half, we're able to withdraw. With a non-deductible IRA, contributions funds cannot be deducted from gross income, and you will pay income taxes only on the interest earned when the money is withdrawn. You can start withdrawing from both traditional and non-deductible IRA when you turn 59 and a half. Okay. Some withdrawals before that age are permitted, but they are subject to 10% penalty. Okay. With a Roth IRA, the IRS taxes money the year it is deposited. So there are no taxes paid when the money is withdrawn. After you turn 59 and a half, you can withdraw all or part of your Roth IRA income tax free and without penalty, as long as long it is made 5 years after the account was opened and for qualifying purposes, such as maybe buying your first home or paying for higher education, university. Withdrawing for any other reasons before the age will result in a 10% penalty. There are also contributions limits. So for each IRA. For more information about all of this detail, go to the irs.gov, and search IRA. In your handout, you will be able to see this information. There is also some options for some of you who are self-employed. If you have your own business, you have many of the options as employees participating in a company plan. The savings incentive match for employees plan or simple IRA, which is the first one on the slide, is for small businesses with a maximum of 100 employees who earned $5,000 or more in the previous calendar year. The next one is SEP, and this stands for Simplified Employee Pension. Might also be an option. With this plan, the employee is responsible for making the entire contribution. We also have solo 401k, and these are for very small businesses, and is only available for the business owner and their spouses. And the last one is called defined benefits plan. Is a more expensive option, but will benefit those that have a significant amount of money to save for retirement. Okay, so again, there are so many ways that we're able to save for our future. This is a calculating form, calculating your net worth. This handout is included in your package, okay? Creating wealth happen over time. So it is important to gauge your progress regularly. Track your progress. Check and see where's the money going, how much savings, debt, Calculating your net worth can help you stay on track. Net worth is a comparison of what you own versus what you owe. So to calculate it, use this worksheet. Okay. So under your assets, write down all your information, and liabilities, balances that you still owe, and on the bottom, if you have a positive result, indicates that your assets are larger than your liabilities. If it's a negative, then your liabilities are larger than your assets. And this will give you information on what things you need to change. Hey, what what adjustments I need to make to stay on track. The goal is to have a positive network that builds over time. So take steps to evaluate if you happen to have a negative net worth, evaluate your spending, evaluate your saving habits, and implement a debt reduction plan. All right, so here is how to choose financial professionals. Okay, so as your wealth grows, professional advice might be useful to help guide your investment choices. And there are many financial professionals. Some of them may be your accountant, your banker person, financial planners, your human resource and your job, um, insurance agents. Yes, what type of insurance, what cover, what doesn't cover, um, lawyer. Maybe you have a friend who is a lawyer, real estate agents, if you're thinking about buying property. So remember that each professional is specialized in a different area, so you may need to seek the advice of more, just more than one. The role of financial professional is to offer advice and sell investment products. So this is a financial professional, and there is an organization that you're able to search and see what background and what type of financial planner that person is. Your responsibility is to make informed decisions about the kinds of advice that you need. You may want to consider the services again of a financial advisor who can help you coordinate and kind of advise from several professionals. When choosing this person, or several of the persons that you need, several of the professionals, when choosing a professional, research credentials and certifications, check references, and interview several candidates before making the final decision. A good financial planner should explain the benefits of various investments and also outline all the potential risk, all the potential risk. Okay. Some of the questions that you may want to keep in mind is what is your fee structure? What are your credentials? What is your area of expertise? Would you act as my fiduciary, which is someone who take care of your money? What services can I expect? All those type of questions. Okay. There are several resources in the handout that you will be receiving. All right, so I have covered lots of information, but remember, you will be receiving a handout. I want you to go ahead and review the information. I hope that you have found this information very helpful. We look at the difference between lending and owning assets. I show you various financial instruments and savings and investments strategies. Uh, we talk about your retirement, questions to really ask yourself, um, the importance of tracking your progress so you're able to make adjustments. So use your net worth form that will be included in your handout. Okay. And remember, always choose financial professionals, but people that you can trust. Okay, today's presentation is designed for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an investment, tax, or legal advice. All right, so where we get maybe some questions or comments, here is our website. There is our phone number, moneymanagement.org. There is our free online learning program, learn.mmiuniversity.org. It is free of charge. And there is American Heritage Credit Union members and non-members dedicated phone line available for free to talk to one of our budget and credit counselors. It is free of charge, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.